Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzi, host of the Leaders Without podcast. Today, I have another incredible guest for you, my new good friend, Meryl from New Jersey, not far from here. We just had a beautiful chat. We connected through, once again, Tyson's wonderful community, the Serving Circle. Meryl is a beautiful art-centered lady. She's working with healing people from within, helping spiritual professionals heal their relationship within so they don't go without. She's a certified, accredited certified EFT, facilitating healing the clients, overcoming their negative thoughts, feelings, and finding the root cause of what's holding them back. And that's what she's doing. That's what we're going to talk about. So, Meryl, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure's all mine. So before we start, for people who don't know you, who's Meryl?
Who am I?
Good question.
I know. Let's see. Well, I'm a beach lover. I was just telling Payman that my condo is for sale and I'm moving to the beach. I do love to travel. I love to cook. I'm a total foodie. I even have a little sign in my kitchen that says foodie. But
what kind of cuisine is your favorite to cook?
I actually love to mix either, like I do healthy cooking because I do like to eat gluten-free and dairy-free and pretty low sugars. So it's healthier ways of eating Indian food, Japanese food, like all ethnic kinds of foods. I really do love all different spices and things like that. So
awesome.
Anything that's peanutty. I love almond butter. I put that in everything. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us more about you. Sorry to interrupt you because I'm a big foodie. I love food. So when you mentioned that, I had to ask that question. So tell us a bit more about you.
Well, I'm also a yoga teacher. I've been a yoga teacher for 9 years. So I do like to live a healthy lifestyle. It's very important to me. But some of my background is I actually started in corporate America. I was doing accounting, so I started in finance, but I had a childhood passion of doing my nails. And I'll only show you 4 fingers on the other hand, because this one I slammed in my I shut my thumb in the door of my car door. Yeah, like about 10 days ago. So we won't show you that one. Very lucky. I was very lucky that it's not broken. So when I was a child, I was always just being very creative, doing my nails and things like that. And I figured at some point it would be more than a hobby and maybe it would be a second career. But it ended up being my first career, right? So I didn't finish going to college because it really wasn't my thing. And I quit college to go to, nail school, cosmetology school, while I had my corporate job. And I honed my craft working for someone else while I was in corporate. And then I left and worked for the same person for 1 year full time. And then I was on my own for over 25 years. I had my own little business, like a little nail studio, and it was very successful. I loved what I did. I really loved what I did, but at the 20-year mark, I was really burnt out. I was really burnt out. I had issues with relationships because I couldn't manage my emotions. And I had a lot of chronic pain in my body from all of the years of sitting in the repetitive motions of doing my job. So that led me, I was practicing yoga, and that led me to become a yoga teacher. And then eventually I got on the healthier bandwagon of what did my body really need, more than what other people told me, or more than I have to work in order to make money, right? And that was more important to me for many years than my own health and my own needs and prioritizing myself. So it took me many years, but I finally learned what was really important. And I started to slowly cut down in the salon. And then in 2017, I did an advanced level yoga teacher training, and I knew I was probably going to close my business in about a year. So I started researching, what am I going to do? I mean, I was thinking life coach, but I wasn't exactly sure. And anytime I got like intuitive readings from people, like everything was leading me in that direction, like keep going, you're on the right path. And I found a mind-body medicine practitioner was something that I was really interested in. And I found a mentor for that who was practicing EFT. And that's what got me into starting to learn about EFT. And that led me down the path of following many different, the people, like the big name people in the EFT world. And I joined all of their programs and all of their trainings and became accredited, which is, I have to say, very different from just being certified, which I'll say a year ago, before I was certified, I thought, oh, the course is going to be a breeze because I really am getting incredible results with my clients, right? And then I did the certification and I realized I really didn't know that much. I thought I did, but I really didn't know that much. And I obviously learned a lot in the certification, but I continued on with the same mentor to be accredited, which means I had to do, hundreds of hours of work. Half of it needed to be critiqued by my mentor, which really helped me to hone my craft in an incredible way that is so much more powerful than just being certified. And I said, when I graduated, I said, I think this should be like mandatory, like everybody should have to do this, mentoring. It's called mentoring for mastery, to be accredited. So, and now I can still go on to even like level 3, like I'm certified in level 1 and 2, but I have to be in this for a year. And then I can go on to get certified in level 3, which I already know I'm going to do. I mean, because this is just my modality, it's just, it's changed my life. It's helped me, along with coaching and practical coaching and spiritual coaching and law of attraction and all of that. It just constantly helps me manage my stress. I have a lot of uncertainty in my life right now with moving and all of that. So, every day I'm just doing my EFT tapping and, constantly keeping myself in alignment and in check,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful. We're going to talk about EFT in a moment. But first, let me ask you, I told you earlier, some question to get to know you at a personal level. So tell us, Meryl, what makes you happy in one or two sentences? I'm going to ask you a series of questions and I want you to answer them in a couple of sentences. So first of all, what makes you happy?
Well, of course, in my business, it's seeing my clients have the aha moments and the healing and the understanding of why their life is the way it is right now and why they're not getting the results that they want. So, I mean, it's incredible. I'm always like, yeah, in my sessions and stuff like that, whenever they're having these moments. So that's, true joy and happiness for me. But on a personal level for me, I do a little bit of karaoke singing.
Oh,
yeah. Don't make me sing now or anything, but there's a little bit of that.
I was hoping that you could give us a little bit of a glimpse of your singing talents. A little bit. All right, that'll be for part 2.
Yeah, it's mostly like 80s music. And I do like music, like all kinds of music, and sometimes I just like to dance around and stuff. That's fun. And awesome. I love entertaining for people. The cooking that I do is I'm so passionate about it. I love to entertain also. So
wonderful. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Now tell us, what makes you smile?
Well, I mean, I could say what we just spoke about, but actually my mind went right to watching a little baby.
Oh, wow.
Watching, and I don't have any children, not that I'm against children or anything, but it just didn't happen for me, which is fine. But watching like a little baby play and the innocence of that, is just
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah.
absolutely. Now, what makes you come alive?
Definitely being at the beach makes me come
Mhm.
alive, for sure. What else? I mean, all of what we're talking about makes me feel
Mhm.
alive. I have the chills going through me, as I'm talking. So,
Yeah. All right, cool. Now, what makes you sad and angry?
what makes me sad? Is when I see animals or people mistreated, makes me sad.
Mhm.
Um, when um, when I see people that I know maybe not prioritizing themselves the way that I know they deserve,
Mhm.
What's the other thing you said? Sad and angry.
Angry, yes.
What makes me angry? Makes me angry. Nothing is coming to mind right now. I mean, it can be something simple like I want to be in a certain place in my life and I'm not there yet, and I can be frustrated about that. I mean, that's just being completely transparent. But
Mhm.
if it's something external outside of me, there's got to be something. I don't know, just nothing coming to mind right
Okay. What scares you?
now. The dark could scare me. Heights could scare me.
Spiders?
No, not really.
Okay.
One time when I was in the Dominican Republic, I saw the largest tarantula that you've ever seen in your
Oh, wow.
entire life. I mean, bigger than my hand.
Wow.
The body of it was like about this big.
Ooh.
And after that, I was like, spiders.
Okay.
So
All right. What would you say is your personal superpower?
my personal superpower, I would say it's listening and connecting the dots for people in their life. I am
Mm,
definitely, that is my superpower.
wonderful.
And I've used the EFT, which I know we'll talk about eventually, as the facilitator to help guide my clients
Mhm.
like to the root of their issue and things like that, like to help to guide them to listen to their intuition and their wisdom and all of that. So I would say, I mean, you even mentioned that you're a connector, and I've always been a connector. Having a nail business and a salon business, it's similar to a bartender, where I'm spending a
Sure.
lot of time with people, a lot of time, an hour
Absolutely.
or more, like, in every 2 weeks or a month or something like that. So I really get to know people fast and deep. And,
Sure.
and I think people feel very comfortable with me very quickly.
That's a great skill to have indeed. All right.
Yeah.
Now, let me take you on a trip. I know you love traveling. I'm gonna take you on a trip down the memory line. When we're kids growing up, everybody asks us, parents, relatives, teachers. So, Meryl, what do you want to become when you grow up? What was your answer back then?
It was a teacher.
Okay.
So I'm not far off. It's just, I figured a school teacher, but,
Did you have any subject in particular that you wanted to teach, or?
I don't think I connected to that
Hmm,
at that young age.
okay.
No.
Okay. And when you're in school as a as a younger girl. What was your favorite subject?
Anything creative, really, like arts and crafts, metal shop, wood shop.
Really?
I mean,
Wow.
but I know, but I liked the business classes too. And that was why I
Mhm.
went into, my family has a business background. My father was a CPA and a stockbroker and stuff. So
Mhm.
we have that finance and business background. And I think that was why it was easy for me to go into owning my own business and having to, keep track of my finances and do QuickBooks and all of that. So
Okay, and what would you say was your least favorite subject in school?
history.
Why?
I don't know.
Was it the
Unless it was like,
teacher?
no, I just didn't care. I'm like, I guess I didn't care.
Okay.
To put it bluntly, I was like, and I mean, I guess it would help to make me a more well-rounded conversationalist, but other than
Mhm.
that, how is it going to help me in my life?
Yeah.
I didn't, and I have to say, like, not that I've studied a lot about it, but I do have a little bit of an affinity for Egyptian history.
Mm.
Just the building of the pyramids and the hieroglyphics and all that. That's always been interesting. And, I've seen like the Tutankhamun, I've gone to those displays or what, events at museums and things like that about Egyptian history. So that's cool. But other than that, I didn't care.
Yeah. Wow. So now let's move forward to where you are now. So how did you get on the path that you are right now? Tell us about that when you made the switch from your nail salon business into what you're doing now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of said it earlier that I just was my whole life I mean, I can think back to, I'll say 8 years old, where I
Mhm.
knew I had a lot of negativity in my head, but I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't feel safe talking about it. It just didn't come up in conversation. Um, and because of that, and I was a very emotional type of a person, I suppressed all these feelings. And what happens is it constantly would bubble up as I got older. It would bubble up, and I was triggered very easily by other people, and I was insecure, and I didn't trust myself. And I was just constantly on the journey of healing all of that. And while I tried, traditional therapy, all I did was talk about myself, and they would just say, yeah, I know, and they would just kind of console me, but I never really got any tools to move forward or heal from it. And yeah, I just kept on reading the books, and I I feel that the right people kept coming into my life at the right time, to help me see things that I wasn't able to see, to keep me moving forward. And um, yeah, that's just what it is I just wanted to heal myself so badly that that was my soul's purpose, and it became my business now.
Awesome. Wow. Okay. So when you made the switch, was that a specific turning point, specific event, or was it something that was just progressively moving towards you making the switch?
Well, actually, there is a little story. I
Okay.
mean, I had a specific closing date of my salon, which was August 31st, 3 years ago. And the
Uh,
next day, I mean, that day, or, the next day, I brought my nail station home, which was right here. I have a different table now. Like, I have a nice desk now, but I brought my nail station home to my living room, and whoever wanted to follow me was going to follow me here. And I was going to continue to work while I built my coaching business. And I figured, within a few months, by the end of the year, it'll all be together. Everything will be fine. And I'll let go of my nail business. And, that's kind of what I thought. So exactly a month later, I fell and broke my arm,
oh,
and I couldn't work. Couldn't
yeah.
work. at all. My other wrist had incredible tendonitis in it from doing nails. And so that was my right hand. And then my left hand was the wrist that I fractured in a few places. So yeah, I mean, I needed people to come here and scoop the litter box and, you know, help me food shop and wash the dishes and change the sheets and drive me to teach yoga, which I could only talk about. I mean, I couldn't demonstrate obviously anything, but I did create a YouTube channel from that, yoga for people that couldn't use their hands or their arms. So I did a few videos on that. And it pushed me to do a coaching program with one of my mentors that I probably would have pushed off. So I started it right away. I mean, I fell on September 29th, and October 1st was a challenge, a 90-day challenge with another group that I'm in. And like 5 days later, this other program was starting, and I was like, now is the time. I have all this free time, you know? And I also didn't sell my business. I sold some of my products that I had in my salon, but I didn't sell my salon. So it wasn't like I waited for some nest egg, you know, to leave my business and close it and move on. It was just my calling, my passion, my calling and my passion. That's what was living off of, that energy of this is just, I'm just going to keep being supported. I'm just going to keep taking the next step. And not that it wasn't frustrating sometimes, but so yeah, so I did a coaching program, and then I slowly started to learn more about EFT, who I serve, right? The marketing behind it, how to run your business online, and all the things that you need to learn. I'm still learning, of course.
Awesome. That's a perfect segue. Tell us now about your business, what you're doing. Especially the first question I want to ask is, what does EFT stand for? What is EFT? Because I have no idea. So tell us, for people like me that have no idea, what is that? And then you can tell us about your business.
Yeah. So EFT means emotional freedom technique. So freeing yourself from whatever's gotten you stuck. I mean, it can be anything under the sun, from food cravings to I'm not feeling enough, or I doubt myself, or fear of success, or I have a pain in my shoulder, or I have this illness, or anticipation for giving a speech, right? I have this fear of being seen and going live. I mean, it can be, you know, anything. So when I started my business, I said, well, I can help everybody. But I wasn't on the bandwagon of you have to have a niche in order for people to know what you really do and make money. So I eventually figured that out, but excuse me. So EFT is tapping on the main Chinese energy meridian points, just like an acupuncturist would put needles in there to help promote healing within. It's the same idea, except we're using our fingertips to tap. So I'll keep talking and I'll tap. A sample round could be something like, even though I'm having this fear of success, you know, maybe I know I'm blocked somewhere, I love and accept myself anyway, right? That's could kind of be like a sample of how it started. And then we would tap on the other points, top of the head, all this fear, right? Inside the eyebrows, all this fear. And you just stay focused on the fear. And you keep tapping on the points. Some people use both hands. I typically use one, right? All this fear under the nose, this fear. We might stay longer on them. I'm just doing this quickly, right? On the chin, all this fear. I like to do both hands here. This is the under the collarbone point. I happen to be wearing a shirt which exposes it. You don't have to be on the skin. It can be right on top of the shirt. This is really connected to your nervous system. And for me, my favorite point, it's very calming to my energy and my nervous system. So I like to do two here. And then under the arm, it's right under the armpit where it meets the breastbone. And you can tap there. There are other points under the chest. There are fingertip points. And there are clearing techniques that are also used when people have like a traumatic event from their past. They don't even have to tell me any of the details. And I can take them through a clearing process and wipe out the intensity, the emotional
Wow.
intensity that they have to it. And that is connected to all these decisions and all these behaviors that they've had their whole lives, right? And why their relationships might not work, why they're in an unfulfilling relationship, why their health is suffering, right? All these reasons. So when you tap, you want to focus on your truth, as we call it, which is the fear. It's not, oh, I'm not going to think of the fear. I'm just going to be happy, or I'm just going to be positive. All that is doing is continuing to suppress the fear, and you're not really facing the fear. You need to face the fear in order to transmute that fear to a higher consciousness, right? Fear is a lower consciousness, and you want to transmute it to neutrality, at least, or contentment, peace, right? Willingness, openness. You want it to be in that higher consciousness so that you can invite in new perspectives, new ways of thinking, change the neural pathways in your brain, and new opportunities come to you, right? Creativity comes to you. You get the downloads for life, for your business, right? And your whole life can change by letting go of your limiting beliefs and the stress that you hold. And that's what EFT does. And my clients have incredible, decades of negativity that they've had in their head, and they've worked on their stuff. They've gone to therapy, they've read the books, they've had coaches. And when they work with me, it's just the way that I help them to connect the dots using EFT just helps to shift them very quickly. Like, I was working with one of my clients, and after 5 sessions, she just kept saying wow in our sessions.
Wow.
I said, what is the wow today? Tell me what the wow is. And she's like, if you would have told me how deep we would have gone in our sessions in the beginning when I first met you, she said, I probably wouldn't have worked with you. But the way that it just naturally happens, because I don't tell people what to do, or we have to do this, or we have to go there. I'm just helping to guide them, and their wisdom is taking them there. And when their wisdom is taking them there, they're ready to go there. But this specific client, for example, I don't even know what her trauma was. I know how old she was, but I don't know any of the details. And she doesn't have any attachment to it anymore, after decades of being attached to it since 5 years old. So it's just, yeah, it really is. It blows my mind sometimes. It really does. So a lot of people think that tapping is just to help you in the moment and quell anxiety, overwhelm, whatever is stressing you at the moment. And it does, but it does so much more.
So tell us how a session with you work. You just tell people to tap in specific areas of their bodies, and you ask them some specific questions for them to open up to you. And then based on that, able to tell them, to guide them deeper and deeper into the cause of that. Tell us more about the process.
So if I get on a call with someone, and it seems to be leading to us working together, I'll ask them a bunch of questions. What is your current frustration? Okay. And is this familiar to you? Does it connect anywhere in your body? Do you have, physical symptoms that are going along with this? Maybe, maybe not. And, if your wisdom was to guide you, where do you think you learned this behavior? Where do you think that you learned that you're not enough? Where do you think you were taught that you should not speak when you want to?
So your clients are not under hypnosis, they're fully conscious and aware. Okay.
Fully conscious and aware. So if then we were going to decide to work together, I would send them a questionnaire, which has similar questions, but it allows them to spend a little time thinking about what their current frustration is, where they want to be, what their goal is, because we always want to be testing it back to why are we doing these sessions and what is our goal. And sometimes when I work with people over a long period of time, the goal changes. We kind of go down the pathway that our wisdom is leading us to. We can't always stay in tunnel vision, so to speak, of where we started, because we want to just be open to receive maybe more, right? And then when I work with my clients in our sessions, it's, what are you feeling today? And if some people say, oh, things are great. Oh yeah, everything's great. Okay, well, I'll take them back to where we started. Okay, so this is your current frustration of why we started to work together, and this is where you want to be. How is that for you today? And then they'll say, oh, well, yeah, I'm struggling with this, or maybe that, and all of a sudden stuff will come up, and we'll remove either current frustrations, or we'll take the current frustrations and bring it back to the root, right? If we haven't wiped out all of the root causes yet, right, it will still show up in your life today. And it really always does. It's just it just shows up differently, right? We're so aware of it in a different way that it allows us to thank the fear for coming up, thank the limiting belief for coming up, thank the other person for triggering us. It's different. It's just a different way of being able to look at it and process it, because you're not all, the word insecure comes up, but you're just not all focused on all of your limitations and your doubt and it's just, you're in a different energy now. You're in a higher consciousness, right? So you're able to see things from a new and better, healthier perspective.
Love that. Wow. So who would you say is your ideal client avatar? Who is the best, the people that are most to benefit the most from your help?
I would say a spiritual professional woman is typically my client. So spiritual meaning that
heart-centered.
They're heart-centered. They believe in a higher power. They want to trust their wisdom and their intuition, but they don't quite fully. They've done some work. They're into health or somewhat of a healthy lifestyle, but they know it could be better. And they are stressed, frustrated, and overwhelmed in some part of their life, relationships with others, right? Or their business is not going well, or they have highs and lows in their business, or they're not getting the respect and the support and the love in their, relationships with family or significant others. They're not prioritizing themselves. Maybe their whole life they have put others first, and it's time to put themselves first, and they just don't know how.
Wow. And usually when someone joins your program, within how soon can they see results? Of course, that varies from person to person, but on average, how soon can someone get some result?
People have results in the clarity call, like before they even sign up with me.
Wow.
Oh yeah, every time. I just had a client sign up last week, and it was a typical networking call, I'll call it, like you and I were doing. And she said, yeah, I love the tagline in your email signature. I can relate to that. And I said, oh, and we just started talking about it. And then I helped her very quickly connect the dots. And she said, wow, I never would have put that together. And that's what I hear a lot. So, like I said, I'm working with this one client, and I would say in the clarity call, right? And then when we go into the first session, by like 3 or 4 sessions, you are really changing. You are really changing and integrating this new way into your life.
And usually having one session a week with your clients?
I was doing once a week. Now I'm doing every other week.
Okay.
Yeah, and most people do have Voxer support, with me, so they have access to me in between our sessions. So when they need help or accountability, or, you know, they're just struggling with something, they can at least have access to me. But the healing, I feel there needs to be a little bit of space in between for
Mhm.
it for you to process. So I do every other week right now is what I'm doing with my clients.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, how are you getting your clients? Do you have a specific marketing game plan, or is it word of mouth, or?
It is some and some. It is referral based. Being
Okay.
in the area where I live and having the salon and being a yoga teacher, I was
Mhm.
also doing in-person workshops, EFT and meditation type workshops
Oh,
before
yes.
COVID. So, you know, and I would get tables at wellness events and things like that before COVID. So
Mhm.
I'm well known in this area. So a lot of my clients were people that already knew me, and it was just timing of me being in the space for what they
Sure.
needed. And
Mhm.
then I've gotten a few people from, you know, cold clients from online, and networking, you know, virtual type networking.
So would you say your clients are mostly locals, or all over the US, all over the world?
All over the US
Mostly.
right
Okay.
now.
Okay. Cool. What would you say is the number one challenge currently in your business?
Well, I love to share what I do live, and Facebook, I was just telling you this last night, Facebook doesn't like me. My account was hacked a couple of months ago,
Oh,
and ever since
no.
then, yeah, I mean, I got back in after a week, but ever since then,
Oh,
I can do like one Facebook Live, and then I'm banned for like a week, and then I can go on and do another one. So I can't schedule anything. I have a private Facebook group, and you know, and I just love to share what I do. And I think the best way is live. So that would be a struggle. That's a struggle for me for sure. I mean, now I happen to be doing 3 in-person events within the next month that are local here. So that's
mhm.
good. And, you know, I'm
You
finding
know,
other ways to record them on my phone, like record videos on my phone and upload them on LinkedIn. Facebook will let me do that, but you know, the algorithms don't show it as much as live. So
the one thing that comes to mind is, you have your own podcast.
another thing.
But for someone like you that loves, displaying what you're doing live, and it would be a no-brainer, and it's not as complicated. For example, for me, all I do is just video calls, upload them on YouTube and Facebook. So YouTube can be an amazing, it's the biggest video search engine in the world, and it doesn't take much of a tech or anything. You already have, I'm sure, a mic, you have a camera, you can invite people. And for you, what I would recommend is, so you said you've been doing that for the past 3-4 years. So you've helped quite a handful of people. What I would recommend is, first, reach out to these people and tell them, hey, I love working with you, love your story. I'm starting my podcast, and I would love for you to come share your story. So you're not chasing after them asking for testimonials. You're asking them, hey, I'm starting a podcast. I would love to have you share your story. So you do that until you get a foundation of, say, 20 or 30 episodes like that. And once you've done that, you've built yourself a nice foundation. Then you go after your ideal clients, wherever they may hanging out the most, whether it's on LinkedIn or Facebook groups. And when you reach out to them, again, you're not trying to pitch them or on whatever services. You say, hey, I love what you're doing. I would love you to be on my podcast for your story. So you're not pitching anything. In this way, your conversion rate is through the roof. Actually, I know of a guy in Florida, Josh Elliott, is building an 8-figure business with zero ad spend, using only the power of podcasts. All he does is just, he interviews his prospects. He has clearly identified his ideal clients. When he reaches out to them, he's not trying to pitch anything. He's saying, hey, my name is Josh. I'm the host of this podcast. I love your story. I want you to share your story with me. And then 99% will say yes. So during that podcast, that episode, he takes the time to get to know them, build rapport and trust. And because he has clearly identified his ideal clients, he has a PR agency that helps businesses between 6 to 8 figure to get more exposure. Someone asks him, so what about you, Josh? What do you do? Say, well, I help businesses that are making 6 to 8 figures to get more PR exposure. And at that time, they will say, hey, that's exactly what I need. Can you help me? And then there was just a matter of setting up, okay, let's set up a call after time to talk and see how we can work together. So it's not basically spending zero on ads. It's not chasing anyone. And mind you, not everyone that he speaks to becomes a client. That's fine. You just thank them and you just ask them one question. Do you know anyone else who has a beautiful story like yours to invite on my podcast? He's not asking for business referrals. He's asking for people to come share the stories. So this way, spending zero on ads, he's getting his ideal client because he's clearly identified his clients, and he's getting an unlimited supply of highly qualified, responsive leads. And for someone like you, anyone, I'm not a coach, but if I were a coach, that's exactly what I would do. Build a foundation for yourself with the people you've worked with already, so that by the time, let's say you have 20, 30 as your foundation, then you go and reach out to the people that are your ideal clients, invite them on your podcast to get to know them. And during the podcast, you ask some of the key questions you would ask to qualify them that you would on a normal discovery call. And then if they become a client, perfect. If they don't, just ask them, hey, do you know someone else with a story as beautiful as yours that deserves to be spread out and shared? You're not asking for you're not pitching, you're not asking for business referrals, you're just giving them an opportunity to talk about themselves. And this way, he's getting 95, 99% of people that he reaches out to say yes. And he's reaching out to CEOs and VPs at high-level companies. So for you, Meryl, for any coach out there, that would be a no-brainer. And honestly, all it takes is just one of these. You can grab one on Amazon for $50 to $100. I'm pretty sure you might already have one because your quality of your sound is pretty good. You have a camera, and the tech is easy. You just do Zoom calls, upload to YouTube, and once you get your Facebook account live, then you can start a Facebook group, put them there. And also, it's not good to have all your eggs in one basket. So if you're completely dependent on Facebook, then you're kind of stuck. But if you have another platform,
I'm totally, understanding that whole situation is moving me to other, platforms on purpose. I mean, it's clearly a sign telling me to
exactly,
do other things.
That's awesome. All right.
I mean, I could go live on YouTube. I could do that.
Absolutely. And you could even do, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you could even do lives on LinkedIn. I haven't done it, but I'm pretty sure you could do that. No?
I have to apply. I heard
okay.
You have to apply to do it. So maybe you have to have a paid account. I'm not sure.
Have you tried Instagram?
Oh yeah, I do them on Instagram.
Okay, awesome. Then that's all you need for now. All right. Cool. Now, let's move forward. The theme of this podcast is a cause. So what would you say for you is a cause that you're passionate about?
I mean, many. Tomorrow I'm going to what's called Pink Witches Night Out to help support someone struggling with cancer. So I would say that is a big one. My mom has had it many times. She's 94 and very healthy, believe it or not. She's
God bless her.
Yeah. She takes like 3 pills. It's incredible. She's had cancer a few times and beat it. So
beautiful.
Yeah, and then I know that I like to donate to either bird sanctuaries or owl sanctuaries. Like I have a thing for owls, or animals, things like that. So
awesome. Fantastic. Now, before we finish, I'd like to ask a couple of questions. Now, so you said you don't have your podcast yet, but if you had your podcast, and if you were today, you would have the most special guest in the world, which is yourself. You're interviewing yourself. What would be the first question you would ask yourself on your podcast?
What would I ask myself?
What is the first thing that comes to mind? Don't think too much. The first thing that comes to mind.
It's a stumper. It's something about, I don't know why my mind goes back to when you were a child, something like that. It would start, like when you were a child. Where did you think you would be now in your life? What, that kind of thing.
All right. And now let's go on another quick trip. Imagine you have a time machine. If you were to go and be able to sit face to face with an 18-year-old Meryl, what would be the number one piece of advice you would give to her knowing all that you know now?
Definitely trust way more in the universe.
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely. Listen to your wisdom and trust the universe and have faith that when you take the leaps of faith for what you really want in life, you are supported.
Love that. What would you say is the best advice you've ever received?
Best advice I've ever received. My mind went right to my current coach, who I've worked with now on and off for about 2.5 years. It's just staying consistent to what you want, like staying consistent in your mindset to what you want.
Love that.
It's the best advice.
And what would you say was the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
I mean, there's been many people who have told me to just get a job. When my coaching business wasn't working, Meryl, it's just time. Don't you think it's just time? You just got to get a job.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even hear it. I wouldn't even come in to I'd say, absolutely not, crazy.
We're totally on the same page on that. Yes. And one question I love asking is, what is the smallest thing you've done that has had the biggest impact on your life and business so far? To give you an example, for me, it's been starting this podcast because it allowed me to connect with an incredible human being. What would you say for you? What is the smallest thing? And I don't mean something small. By small, I mean one thing that you've done that has had the biggest impact so far on your life and business.
The smallest thing.
The one thing you've done that has had the biggest impact so far.
What comes to mind is virtual networking.
Yes, indeed.
That's what comes to mind.
Beautiful. And if someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do so?
Well, I mean, everything is under my name, Meryl Hayton. Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, my website, everything is under my name. You can email me, merylhayton@gmail.com. So.
Wonderful. I'll put that in the show note. That's awesome.
That's the best way to reach me.
Okay. Well, we can talk for hours because you have a beautiful mission and I love talking to you, but we have to wrap it up, and we may do a follow-up in a few months, but for now, I salute you. You're a true leader with a heart. Keep shining your light. Stay safe, stay awesome. God bless, my friend, and we'll definitely keep in touch. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very welcome.